Oh, goody. Walmart. Your good friends at Walmart. Sam Walton had some type of direct correlation to uh, our government in some form or fashion. I don't remember all the specifics. I watch a lot of videos, but he is not the sweet little innocent Christian that we've all been told. He's passed away now, and his family's making billions hand over fist. And there is some relationship that exists between Walmart, all of these chain stores, Walmart, and Sam's Club too, from what I understand, and the government. So, people for a long time have had a suspicious and freaky, creepy eye open regarding Walmart and just a fundamental distrust for all things large box store prison oriented, survival type of concern. I can't say that I blame them either. Walmart brings the big screen to its parking lots starting August 14th. Because, in the midst of a big, huge global reset where the kingdom of darkness can set up for its final last 7 years of hoo ha and fun, and by fun, I mean horror, definitely in the midst of everybody's rights being taken away, you want to make sure and draw the people to Walmart for a fun party time. Because that there would never be a more appropriate time for such a move dealing with the relationship of this store and the government and the government military complex and all of its backhanded, weird associations. And of course, everything gets coded in the 4-year-old name calling of conspiracy theory. So, a lot of evil can be done in the name of, squashing honest inquiry. Inquiry. I can't say that word. Inquiry. Anyhow, you know what I'm trying to say. An analysis of the facts by just name calling. So I'm over here today at one of my favorite channels, the Money GPS. Boy, this is a video definitely worth watching and paying attention to. Only about 14 minutes. Says here, look at this. Look at this. China and Russia ditch the US dollar. Is the debt-based petrodollar at the end? And so that spells some significant problems for what's coming to aid in the destruction of the dollar, hyperinflation, and these two get together. They can do a lot of serious damage to our dollar. And in the midst of that, Walmart wants to make sure you have a good fun time. Come here, the spider said to the fly. Right? That's the sense and the feeling. I don't want to go. So, Money GPS is talking about this. He's just peppering through a couple articles real quick here after he already explained to you how really significantly bad our dollar, the shape of our economy is, and he talks about a lot of stuff that honestly go over my head. I don't really understand a lot of what he said in this video in terms of a lot of complex specifics, but I got the overall gist. It's negative. And he goes into a lot of data points to help articulate, uses other people's words and whatnot. And there are violent swings in the economy because they're manipulating things with the central bank. He talks about a lot of stuff in here. I don't want to rehash over that. I just want to stay really central focused on this idea of your good friends Walmart wanting to help you. They love you.
Starting August 14th. Now, I thought this was a diversification of what we're seeing in a particular company. They've obviously never done this kind of thing, but they looked at the situation. They've got a whole bunch of empty lots. They've got Walmart in every city around. Okay, what do we do? The resurgence of the drive-in movie, it may not get to where it was, let's say 20, 30 years ago, but I think it could be interesting. People will feel comfortable going there because they're in their cars. It's relatively close by, they can have some sort of nostalgia. And I think, at least on a surface level, this could be smart. If they do a very slow rollout, it could be good for business. I'm not sure all the details. I'm not sure how they're working it out, but I thought it was worth a mention and just wanted to bring it to you because the businesses today that adapt to the situation, if they have certain assets, if they have locations, if they have a type of business which they can modify in a way, maybe they can not only survive, but they can thrive. So look.
Well, but Walmart is one of the few places, as Uncle Sam's little darling, that hasn't been pulled down. It's all the mom and pop businesses that have been played with, tortured, shut down, closed down, and so on and so forth, destroying people's economic ability to survive. Walmart has not been one of those entities. So one wonders, weird business venture. And is this for free? Is this for money? Um, Maybe I can try to find this article to plumb the depths of it. But again, it seems weird. I don't think he gets it though. So it's not a money making venture unless somehow in weirdness it's for free. Come for the movie, stay to shop, even though 52 million plus of you no longer have an income, and they're threatening you in the news that a second lockdown's coming, and lots of people aren't going to be able to deal with it, and a whole bunch of you are about ready to go homeless. Um, this just seems strange. Available for free to Walmart customers, a Walmart drive-in will transform Walmart parking lots into outdoor cinemas from October 14th. Ew. Through October 21st. Well, I'm freaking out about this October, right? Um, that's weird. With showings of hit movies. Why? It seems weird. Was this what he was looking at? Yahoo? I think we have talked about this before a little bit to some extent. Rolling into 160 Walmart stores. Tribeca Film Festival. So is it like to push new age movies? Is like, what are we doing here? Because there's usually multiple things going on. And no, I don't trust anything. Oh, look at that. 320 showings of hit movies. We recognize the challenges of our customers and our families have faced over the last few months, and we wanted to create an experience where they could come together safely to create new memories. The Walmart drive-in is one small way that we're supporting the communities we serve. Okay. Here's some of the movies. Okay, stuff that have been out before. You can kind of skim the titles yourself. Got to get in the Black Panther. Learn your um, African witchcraft. That will be lovely. That's some scary stuff, man. Major witchcraft. Okay, all the Pikachu stuff. Okay. Let's see here. Teen Titans. Get ready for your superhero powers. The Mark of the Beast is coming a little later on. Oh, all this stupid ET stuff. I hated that stuff when I was a kid. I thought it was weird. I didn't like it. I don't like movies, with very rare exception. Ghostbusters, right? They get into like all kinds of weird, like stupid demonic, stupid evil. Men in Black. Don't get me started with that. Beetlejuice playing around with stupid evil again. Don't really care about the Goonies. Wizard of Oz. There's like a whole backstory on brainwashing. Things I don't want to talk about. Pizzagate, weird things, creepidocious things with the Wizard of Oz. There's honestly a long backstory of degradation and weirdness within coding and all kinds of odd things when you go delve into that. This video is not going to be about going into that. Iron Giant. That was a weird movie. The Lego movie. The Lego movie is all about how the creator is a big giant wiener who's trapped you. And then everything has to be perfect. And there's this freedom loving, free spirited hero that comes to save them. And Theophilus, I think is how you say the name. That name is so hard to say. There's a channel on YouTube. He goes into that. So you might want to try to locate that if you can. I don't know if I'll be able. Oh, what? No, I don't like that. Drew Barrymore? She was in the Santa Clarita Diet Netflix series where they ate people. She'll serve as the virtual host for all the events, welcoming guests to a fun family night experience. I don't like this. Oh, no. No, 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 no. Oh, so they're trying to draw the foolish people with the celebrities. She'll also make a surprise in-person appearance at one location. You better all go because you don't know what location this famous person is going to be. You need to go. Bring your family. Lower your defenses. Stop using your brain. Families will also be entreated to a surprise virtual or in-person appearance from, I don't know who Peter Berg is. I don't care who Jennifer Garner is. I don't care who LeBron James is. And I don't know who Chrissy Metz is. So they're going to draw you in. This really feels creepy to me. Do you really think the celebrities care about you? They're humping and eating and killing children. So, if you think that they care about your discomfort, I would say if you believe that, you may be naive. So, let's see here. They are about making money, but they want to help out. Don't you know? Don't trust them. I wouldn't go. Honestly, I would. You couldn't pay me money to go and take my family. Here, unsuspectingly, go take your family. Go sit at Walmart. I don't think so. I mean, it could be nothing, but it's just so weird that it feels like something. I don't like that. Okay, now they were harassing people for trying to attend services to worship Jesus Christ in their cars. No, 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 we can't have that. You're going to spread disease. My husband was just reading me a bogus headline from somewhere that in some state, somewhere in some city, bogus headlines that this one guy went to church, had Ebola, and infected, I think he said something like 90, 91 or something like that. We'll just say way over 80, but not quite 100 people. And again, it is this manufactured idea that it's that Greco-Roman white Jesus of the Christians and those rotten Christians that are making everybody sick. And then they'll say that certain people, because of their skin color and culture, so black people, right, they're getting sick. And I think they said Hispanics too, if I'm not mistaken. They're all getting sick with Ebola faster than everyone else. So again, you've got this built-in, everything's the fault of the churches, everything. And we've given the black community one more reason to hate your guts and your God, is how that feels to me in this contrived nonsense. For something that, again, I was watching more videos over at Jeff C. Censored and other videos, people walking into more hospitals and going, where are all the sick people? And it actually being completely dead, or maybe like one or two people. There's no one there. So again, this is all a manufactured lie, and they want you to go to Walmart now. This is weird. Now, if you go over to Camo Rose's channel, I do love those flowers. Such a beautiful thing here. She does a lot of videos. And unless they've stolen it and taken it down, no, there it is. It's going to get creepier. Now, remember that there are militant homosexual entities who hate your guts, hate your God. Everything's the church's fault. We need to tear her down. Get her. is this manufactured attitude by them, by BLM, Antifa, trans, black, pretty much any left-leaning, liberal, fake pseudo-churchianity, not Christian, pro-abortion, kill them little babies for money type of people who don't care about little black babies being killed. They're apparently not important, which they totally are. But they're starting to collect into this like big ball of organized hatred. And that's all creepy in and of itself. So that whole thing is building. And then she got this video here, which I really appreciate. It's Neil Patrick Harris presents to you Camp by Walmart. And again, a call for an uprising has really trained me to pay attention to people's hands, to pay attention to what people are saying with their hands in this non-linguistic symbology where they use body postures, hand signs, and so on and so forth, mudras of other religions to communicate messages with one another and others. And society, a part of society that is very YouTube savvy, that knows about these signs, that watches Jeremiah Cohen's channel, maybe Josh Sparrow, and also A Call for an Uprising, and there's others out there too. And then maybe you also look at Vigilant Citizen, who's not Vigilant Christian, totally different person. They have learned to understand this language. It's the language of the Masons. It's the language of the hidden hand. And he's going to do it in a minute. Here, well, he kind of right in your face mocks you. This is going to remind you of Tom Hanks's mean, Masonic, threatening son. What is his name? Chaz or something like that? With his big, creepidocious, threatening interview and his creepy tattoo on his entire upper portion of his torso, dealing with the Eye of Horus, Antichrist to come, and so on and so forth. So let's listen to this. So they're flagging you out information that is done in such a manner that unless you know this language of the Masons, you won't probably catch it. And much more could be said. Let's listen to this video. Thank you, Camo Rose.
I am so excited to be head counselor for a new kind of camp designed for the internet. It's called Camp by Walmart, and families can go there and have all kinds of fun. You can play games, you can play puzzles, you can get your exercise in. We've got a lot in store for you. You can find it all at the Walmart app. So we've got a lot in store for you. You can find it all in. We've got a lot in store for you. You can find it all at the Walmart in. We've got a lot in store for you. You can find it all at the Walmart app. So, I'll see you there, campers.
Oh, did you see that little duper's delight? You go get it. He can barely hold back his glee. Hold on, I'll show it to you. Hold on. So this is, I know something you don't know, but you're gonna. That's what this is. Watch his face very carefully. Watch. I don't know why he has this on his head up here. I don't get that. But watch his eyes. Now remember, this is an empty little temple that has rejected Jesus. He doesn't want Jesus. He wants his way. He wants his rainbow mafia way, and he hates you. Not only do they hate Christians, but they pretty much just hate anybody that isn't their filthy, rich selves. And so I don't know exactly what he's referring to, but I see underneath that veneer of nonsense. Look at him. Look in the camera. You're going to be beheaded. He's happy about this. Watch. Hold on. He's like, see you there, campers, right? So watch. It says almost. See, they say that your body language is like 70 to 90% of your communication. People that study communication understand that. Talk about it all the time. I think most people know that. This is a see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. That's what that is. Looking very intently into the camera. You know, they're not just going to outright tell you. So they have to play this little game of double tongue. They have to make it seem like it's some sweet, nicey nice thing. I think that he's telling you, you gonna get it. And he's quite pleased. Watch his facial expression. Did you see it? He does that really fast. Look here. Oh, these still, look at that. You can see the wheels turning in his brain. He has been fully made aware of the game plan. We've talked, I don't know, maybe 4 videos now. I have a lot of videos on this channel. You should go toward the channel and find them out. The NSA posters from just a couple years ago. Now you can put them on a shirt or a mug, foretelling this shutdown, foretelling silencing, closing down the churches, and these stupid posters with this dumb narrative of nonsense and this weird, creepy winter theme. Like, yay, we finally got rid of her in this coming foiled attempt. They don't know it's going to be foiled yet, but Christ is much smarter than these people. Much smarter than these people. And as I scour the Psalms, I keep seeing this ongoing theme of these people that are setting up a snare for us. They're going to attempt to do humanity and the church dirt, and God is foretelling it, showing that he knows exactly what's going on. So this little thing he's doing here with his lips, like, oh, you know, they had to have had expressions like that in Hitler's day for that whole thing. There's a lot that I could say about that, but I won't. Where they knew that these people were going to be set up. J's, G's, Christians, political prisoners, so on and so forth. Lots of people. Lots of people were sacrificed so that certain leaders could get a certain nation. But anyhow, you should not do that to your own people and to other people as well. But anyhow, point is, look at his little lips here. And there's a lot of info going on back there in that brain behind those eyes. Look at those eyes. This is so creepy. You're going to get it. And then he just instantly went to that duper's delight smile. There it is. I'm thrilled you're going to get it. I'm going to have all the food. I'm going to have the shelter. I'm going to have blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get my way. And you're all going to die. And he's just thrilled about the whole thing. Weird. Very weird. So that should draw your attention back to him.
What's up, everyone? Yeah, it's true.
Can't
My
hear it
parents
though. That's not helpful. Did they kill the? Hold on.
got down in Australia right
Did they
now
kill the
because my
audio?
dad was shooting a movie down there.
They did.
But I just got
They
off the phone
killed
with them.
it. Look at that.
They both are fine.
Hold
They're not
on.
even
This
that
isn't the
sick.
threat one. They're not tripping. What are you, like a 4-year-old? This isn't the right one. But they are part of this. Did they steal it? They may have taken it away. I mean, this is about as clear a search expression as one can get. Is it gone? They may have just taken it. Anyhow, well, he threatened that if you're going to talk whatever about his family. Nope, there it is. Patriots? Just Patriots, though, right? Come on.
Hey guys, I'm really stressed out right now.
Oh, okay, good.
It's been coming to my attention that a lot of Trump supporters have been figuring out the truth about me and my family, being in the, you know what I'm talking about. and I don't know what to do right now because everything's starting to come to light. I mean, these extremely reliable websites like 4chan, 8chan have been exposing shit, and it's like if somebody wrote it on the internet, you know it must be true, and it is true. So it's like I don't know how this is going to affect our whole New World agenda. Ever since The Simpsons predicted my dad being the spokesperson for the coronavirus, even though they didn't predict anything, it's been troublesome, to say the least. I guess I'm just gonna have to work extra hard at my human sacrifices. I'm late for one right now, and I'm a little hungry, so I might eat someone's pineal gland on the way. But just know that we're watching you, and if you're talking shit on the internet, you're gonna be the first people sent to the FEMA camps. So, and I'm a little hungry, so I might
No,
eat someone's pineal
that's
gland on
good.
the way. But just know that we're watching you, and
Oh,
if you're talking shit on the internet, you're gonna be the
oh, shut
first
up.
people sent to the FEMA camps.
Okay. Yeah, things are not always as they seem. And he just did what Satan does, which is he tells you the truth and a lie all together, all muddled together. So that was precious. Not. And he has the big giant, yeah. You know who he lives. So that was weird. Now that was, wow, back in the early part of March. So much more can be said about that. Okay, but that isn't even the weirdest part of it all, despite how really weird that was, because I got to show you something. So, if you don't know, sadly, this may be hard to take if you're not aware of this, but John MacArthur is actually a Mason that is like expert level deception artist. And watchuntoprayer.org, and you hyphenate all of that, has a bunch of information about him. And he has the children doing weird stuff at pighead games. And I know that sounds really weird, but remember, they do stuff so outlandish that you will just automatically dismiss it. The Bible said don't do that. The Bible said to test all things to see if they be true and be convinced in your own mind. And we actually have videos on that. But anyhow, two main huge pastors have been brought into the forefront as Masons or straight out NAR people, like the holy bartender, for public limelight. We're not going to stop doing services. Remember, they need to create a false pretense in the public's mind that it's the Christian's fault for everything. It's Jesus's fault, and it's those darn Christians. They won't stop gathering together and spreading Ebola. So they get this going in the limelight with these two major huge names, Rodney Howard. I can't even think of his last name. Brown? I think it's Brown. He's NAR. He has nothing to do with Jesus. He's one of these signs and wonders whores. I'm sorry, but it's true. And he has balked, been in the public eye, and supposedly gone to jail and all this stuff. It's a setup. It's a lie. People are so trusting. I don't know why everybody believes everything that comes across the screen. Now John MacArthur is doing the same thing, right? So LA County threatens John MacArthur with arrest for holding worship. John MacArthur's out there railing, and then you have Christians that honestly don't understand the level of deception and operation. Remember, John MacArthur believes that God only died for certain people, and everybody else, he planned for them to go straight to hell and cook. Does that sound like the sweet Jesus of the Bible that gives everybody a chance to choose whether you want to become a vessel of grace or a vessel of wrath, and you pull the trigger or you do nothing? No. So anyhow, there's a whole backstory with Calvinism and Masons, and there's when you study out John MacArthur's family tree, it's indisputable. If you put forth the effort, which most people are lazy or brainwashed or just won't because they hero worship. His great-grandfather was an extremely well-known Mason. He has ties that can be documented if people just do the research. So they're bringing him out and swinging him around like a dead cat in the people's perception. It's these Christians that are causing the beautiful Black population, and I think they said Latino population, to get sick. They're murderers. They're spreading Ebola. Right? So they're feeding a flame through nonsense. They have master deception artists playing with your mind, and you have a whole multi-layered rat nest of layer of evil and deception upon layer of evil and deception being propagated against a very doled out, very simpleton, I'm sorry, but it's true, world of people that believe whatever that demon box through the wag the dog television tells you to believe. And they do. Right? Why is it that all the limelight is put upon John MacArthur when honestly there's millions of churches? Why is it that his name is brought out? There's a reason why. It's because he's a Mason. They're playing a game on you. Okay, so there's one more layer of weirdness to this. Okay. Let me get that for you. ReformationCharlotte.org. You know, I just really have a big question mark in my mind about this organization. I just don't know. Seems like they bring out a lot of truth, but then there's other things that they say and do that just causes me some concern. So August 7th, you got to read this headline several times. Government says church can't meet at their building. And it should actually be plural because they have made that proclamation throughout the land that your constitutional rights are worth nothing and that because of Ebola, you need to listen and not have gatherings. Even though you can go to Walmart for your movie night or to get groceries or to make the Walton, what is their name, Walton? More money. Okay, so in closing, this is weird. This hits me weird. So government says churches can't meet at their building. So they take their congregation to Walmart instead. To which you might be thinking, oh, okay, they went into the Walmart parking lot to hold services? Okay, no. Now, again, remember, this is to sow discord. This is to irritate people. This is to put those awful, rotten, law-breaking, selfish, evil, rotten Christians out into the public forum where they don't care about those poor people that are being inflicted with Ebola. They're going to do what they want anyhow. This is part of the game. These people are really good at deception, crafting deception and using actors, using whatever Masons, whatever actors, whatever people they can find to put the worst possible spin and face on the church. They've got a commercial in the background on the TV that I'm not watching that is all about we are one, we are one, we are one. They need to create an understanding in people's minds that we're the odd man out, that we're the bad guy, that we're the jerk, that we're the selfish, disease-filled irritant, biohazard that needs to go away. You're non-essential. You need to die. That's the idea that is being groomed into people's minds. This is one example of how they do it. In the midst of a massive, never before seen persecution against the church in the U.S. in the name of public health, only leftist states though, not, and local governments have launched an orchestrated attack on God's people by deeming them as non-essential and banning them from worship. Yes, that is all true, except it is all states doing it. that I'm aware of, and it's not just the red ones and not the blue ones. Your president is a Republican, so, and he's the one that's pulling the trigger on all this. While, now get this, abortion clinics, liquor stores, smoke shops, big box retailers like Walmart have had little to no restrictions placed on them during Ebola. Anything perceived as a threat to the totalitarian government, such as the right to worship freely. Right, because Satan does not want competition with that name. Satan wants to be worshipped as the false god of this world. He doesn't want Jesus to be lifted up and worshipped, or for people to be coming and getting born again. Not that the church is really teaching that to anybody very much, but anyhow, he doesn't want his name to be lifted up. Lucifer wants his name to be lifted up, and for his coming Antichrist imposter to be lifted up, not the real Jesus. Much more could be said about that, but when you sing, you all get on the same accord, even with your brain waves, everything. Much more could be said about that, but they need to impact and deconstruct Christianity, deconstruct your ability to gather together in the strength and the power and the name and the spirit of the living God. Because remember, this is a reset, right? This is a reset. So taking away the right to worship freely, the right to bear arms, or the right to free speech and press have all but completely been demolished. One church that stands out in particular is Grace Community Church in LA, California, where John MacArthur has been threatened with thousands of dollars in fine and even prison time for continuing to hold worship services against the government restrictions, which I am completely suspect of. But another church has decided to take a different approach. And since they aren't allowed to meet in their own building for worship, they've decided to take their worship congregation to Walmart, where there have been no restrictions on gathering. But it's not in the parking lot. No. It's, we're going to bring this straight into the face of everyone to make them hate us more. Which, by the way, this is, I don't know if you would call it private property exactly, but this is a place of business. So, like, I love a street preacher, depending on how they do their craft, so to speak, but they don't go into businesses. They go on the street. There's a level of respect there. And honestly, if an unbeliever is in a business and they don't want to hear it, you have to respect that. Even God respects the fact that some people have just told him, no, I prefer to go to hell and pay for my own sins. I don't want your help. And God goes, okay. So then they got their little, okay, we're going to whoop it up in the name of Jesus, y'all, right inside the store. And they do start singing. It is pretty. But again, I'm telling you, there's so much more to the onset, right? And I know some people will be like, no, we're the church. You can't take our rights away. We can sing wherever we want. Not in someone else's business, no. And again, there is more to this than meets the eye. Now, I love the gutsiness of Black people. I do love how gutsy Black people are. That is an extraordinary quality that many of them possess. I do love that. Strong people. But this is a setup. Okay, so you suppose they might be trying to lure people to this location, and this is Dinesh Souza, who's always, pushing the Trump Republican thing, saying leftists can't stop the American spirit. I found that kind of weird that he would label it American spirit. This is, again, this tying together of your faith with a political party, which I think is very dangerous to do. But nonetheless, they're still doing it, which can be used for manipulation purposes. Now, you will remember the contact tracing that was ever used. Start bringing all of this stuff together with a coordinated effort of the AI stalking you through your phone apps and collecting rations of people together. What could go wrong, right? This technology is going to be used against you. Look at this. Over at Camo Rose's channel.
So I caught this, or actually my husband did, and I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if I've covered this once before, but these gentlemen here have come up with this camera, been working on it for 20 years. And those are their names right there. I have not looked into them further as of yet, but this is what you might find interesting. Look at their name, the AQU Eddie, Aquetti. Interesting. And their address in Chapel Hill Boulevard in Durham.
She was just pairing the Q of Equity with, Q the machine, Q the not machine, I'm sorry. Well, you know who Q is, right? Whatever it is, whoever it is, spits out truth and lies together. Plus, they're always trying to hook you into this, pro Trump, pro Trump. So she was making that illusion that I was trying to show you that you may not have been able to see. That was her point. But anyhow, she and her husband start digging into some stuff. And over on her original video, Camel Rose is mirroring it. She's got some ridiculously brilliant commenters. We'll show you that in a moment. This camera is creepidocious. And I don't really know what a GoPro is. But anyhow, she's going to go over the properties of this 19 lens camera. And this is just one layer of all the things that we could talk about with the technology. And much of it we already have. And if you don't know, they're building what they call a constellation. Actually, it's already built and put into play right now with mini satellites the size of suitcases that are super powerful, that are orbiting the Earth, and they are basically turning this planet into one big giant prison planet with the technology. And we've discussed before with all the other layers of technology, and I'm still not even done talking about all the technology. But anyhow, she's going to bring in a very interesting aspect to all of this because it all goes together.
Let's go.
The Mantis camera is the most powerful camera in the world. We took the best cameras we could get, 19 of them, and put them together. You'll be able to see everything all the time, everywhere, find out who did it and where they went.
Okay, it seems like In my humble opinion, they played with the audio because I've got everything maxed out. The other day when I listened to this, I could hear it very, very clearly. And it seems like the audio has been muted out a little bit. Let's go to the original video. Hold on. Okay.
Someone's watching me.
So this also seems a little on the low side, but she was saying that her and her husband, when they were out driving around, they felt like this was being played quite a lot, which is what we call seeding and brainwashing on the radio and whatnot. And so it got her and him thinking about looking into all this stuff. Now, you know that a certain As Above, So Below nation was the first one to tell their constituents of their nation that we're going to be using these tracking technologies for Ebola to keep you safe now. And completely destroying their freedom. And then it came over here. And really, when you start thinking about, we've talked about this before, that Revelation 12, verse 3 and 4, you find out there's a dragon. Of course, we know, yes, Satan the dragon, got it. Yes, we know neo-communists, neo-paganists, the new humanity with regard to the transhumanism movement are sculpting the system. They're using the technology. They have this constellation. They even are throwing the name dragon in when you go study Elon Musk, Trump, Kanye West, dragon power. We've talked about all that stuff before. They literally have a dragon constellation comprised of these mini satellites that are functioning together. And it will all eventually be one live, pumping, living, breathing, technological cell, I guess, or many, many, many fractals of cells when they get this vaccine put in those who they don't immediately bump off. I'm convinced there's 2 vaccines. But anyhow, she's going to delve into some of this. Much more could be said. There's more technology where they're just lifetime spying on everything, and they have let what appears to be micro camera, nanotechnology, whatever you want to call them, the size of the grain of sand off out into the planet, which Camera Rose also, she has a knack for finding this stuff, man. Had done a video YouTube pulled, and they pull a lot of her stuff. So she's really talented in locating resources and information. And anyhow, much more could be said. But again, you have that dragon threat, that constellation. Jesus tells John and shows him things about the dragon. You have to like put all of this stuff together. The threat that's coming in on humanity and the subset of humanity, the new creation in Christ, will be exiting because that dragon entity of global government, throw that layer on, the 7 heads, the 10 horns, that's all part of what God is trying to get us to understand. In verse 5, the only place in all of the book of Revelation that the rapture, glorification, redemption of your flesh that Luke 21 talks about, that occurs right there in verse 5. Just because it's in the 12th chapter doesn't mean it happens halfway into the tribulation. Much more could be said about that, but I want to show you what this girl has to say here as she is studying this. Cameras everywhere. Yeah, they have messed with the audio. The song is I always feel like somebody's watching me. They have lowered the audio on this. I believe so, because I heard it very, very clearly the other day, and I've been sitting on it for a few days. This is interesting. They have numbers above their heads. you're not just being watched, you're being stalked by AI, which are fallen angels in the code, in the quantum computers. They are building a superpower quantum computer brain. Think of like iRobot Lucy. They're
So I
building their own
caught this,
gods.
or actually my husband did, and I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if I've covered this once before, but these gentlemen here have come up with this camera, been working on it for 20 years. And those are their names right there. I have not looked into them further as of yet, but this is what you might find interesting. Look at their name, the AQU Eddie, Aquetti. Interesting. And their address in Chapel Hill Boulevard in Durham. Yeah, so I'd like you to listen to a few clips. I'll try to keep it brief. Let's go.
The Mantis camera is some stuff anyway. We took the best cameras we could get, 19.
Okay, what he is saying here that they've altered this volume. He's saying that they've worked on it for 20 years. This is the best camera, and it is for seeking things out.
Of them and put them together.
And when you put them all together, they function together with a greater capacity is the gist of what they're trying to say, that you can't really hear because they have done something, as I've said 4 times now to her audio.
Be able to see everything all the time, everywhere, find out who did it and where they went.
He said you will see everything everywhere at all times so that you can see and find out who did it.
I'm looking for my friend Ming Hao here in the streets of Shanghai. We should be able to...
Okay, so they run this little experiment where he's trying to locate his friend Ming Hao in the streets of, I can't remember what he said, some city somewhere. And here, Ming Hao, right here, the technician, and in Shanghai is what he said. See the architecture? So they're actually going to do a demonstration of the capacity of the cameras plus the AI, which remember, it's not just programming. These are entities that are playing around. Gordy Rose talked about this stuff. They are the old ones. Gordy Rose goes, they're not demons. They're totally demons. And they are stalking humans. And he's going to show you that in just a couple minutes, they find Ming Hao very rapidly. And there have been other stories done, but it is this, these foolish, and they're white men, whatever. Ming Hao may not be white. I don't know. Anyhow, I don't really care. Point is they are creating this technology that will be used not for the betterment of mankind, no matter how they spin it, but for the very beast kingdom that God said would be setting up. And they're trying to procure your trust with Walmart. They're spying on you with everything on the planet. They have technology that you probably wouldn't even believe it. And they've had it for a long time. They're ready to go. And I think they're just waiting on Christ's word for him to come back in Revelation 10, the Son of Man, with that renewed covenant, and say in his authority, time shall be no more. Go for it. So, they're showing you the widespread power of this tool, and then they're linking it back to, look at this. This surveillance camera can see you sneeze at 4,000 feet. So the resolution on it is unbelievable. Long range. This stuff is probably in connection with the satellites that are actually, they have it floating around the planet. Much more could be said about that, but they are setting this thing up. They're setting mankind up to become one through the technology, through the witchcraft. These are the things the Bible warned you about, only it didn't use the word technology because Daniel and John would be like, what's technology? So Paul and them discussed it in the words of the mystery of iniquity, the mystery of sin, the unveiling of yet to be this sin, this power, this dunamos, this dynamite, this this rotten angel who is the prince of the power of the air, the ether, the technology, and so on and so forth. So they connect it back to the dragon that is China, who works with Satan, who hates humanity as they implement Agenda 21 and 2030, which one of the master goals is to cure poverty. Isn't that precious? By killing the poor. That's not precious. See how it all swings together? So Sister China has the largest state-controlled surveillance camera network, collection, stronger, more power. If you think that communist evil dictatorship just wants to keep their power there in their nation to torture their billion people, no. And they're Masons that are friends with Masons that have been placed in all the governments and positions of power and authority throughout the planet, and they're all in on it together. And at the top of it, at the capstone, if you peer up at the top of the pyramid, then you find that this is all being done to welcome this forthcoming AI-enhanced technological breakthrough beast who's going to say, I'm Jesus. And I was thinking about this the other day. I think that what he's going to do, he's going to be like, I was here 2,000 years ago. You totally didn't understand what I said. I think he's going to say that he tried to teach us that we could become gods back then. And these pesky Christians, Paul and so on and so forth, tried to say this other message. And now we need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of these Christians. And we need to make it so that there aren't any new ones popping up. Bring in Noahide. This technology is to surveil the people to get them under the Noahide oath. And then once you break one of the oaths, being spied at with all this technology, then you go to your tribunal. And in documents in another video, which I may put in this one or I may do in another video, I don't know. I'll make it abundantly obvious to you. They actually have leaked field manual guides that have the layout of a FEMA camp. And I was looking at this. In the middle is the tribunal / interrogation area for whatever it was, 500 or 1,000 or whatever it was for the people. So you just start to connect all these dots together. Then you consider the death of the dollar and how our enemies are working so hard, and the Masons around you are working so hard to steal every living cent from everyone, bring you into poverty. This is for those who will be here, who are going to be tasting the judgment that Christ wished to save you from, but you wouldn't follow directions. So that's coming. So much more could be said. China, as well as all of these other evil entities, are crafting this technological prison. And oh yeah, yay, Satan is going to be thrown down here with all of his good friends forever. Well, not forever, but until they are destroyed for that 7 years, in other words. And then people will argue with me and they'll say, well, Satan can come and go and do whatever he wants. He can go on the earth whenever he wants. I know, but the point of Jesus talking about through John, through the visions in Revelation 12, it's like verse 7, 8, 9. Go look in there. The point of him being thrown down is that he's not going to be able to leave, which means it would be like throwing you in a cage with Hannibal Lecter. Yum, yum. And you can't get out. Get it? Let's keep going. Super camera. Yeah, they really messed with this girl's audio. They've done that on other videos too, where Michael Heiser actually had one thing right, that Jesus was born on 9/11/3 BC, the Feast of Trumpets. And I had heard his video quite a few times, same channel, had it saved. Went in there one day to listen to it for a third or fourth or 100th time, whatever. And they had completely removed the audio, but then I actually did find it from the source. But this is one of the techniques that they have or they can screw with your audio. And as you can see, everything is maxed out. I record everything very loud, and then you, the viewer, can play around with it to your comfort level. Unless, of course, the neo-communist, neo-paganist, transhuman, evil bad guy Masons and Kabbalists, as above, so below nation, the hidden hand, play around with censorship. And you're just being brought into the very early stages of conditioning to accept this. And it's only going to get worse from here.
Camera allows us to zoom into any point in an image. If you have a large crowd, let's say at a stadium, you should be able to zoom in and identify anyone in the crowd.
Okay, what he just said was that the power of these cameras is the ability to zoom in and to get those tight shots, so that if you're in a crowd among many people, you can get into that very, very tight spot to, pick one person out from another, is his point. These are highly powerful cameras.
They do use it in China to find criminals, people they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they have their consciences, and they're trying to make it seem as though, this is totally used for catching those criminals. Whoa, wait a minute. I had missed this when I heard it the first time. Where's she going with this picture?
The camera that can do real-time analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back and I'll attach the link to it. But let's listen one more time, one specific part.
Oh, yes.
20 years and $20 to $30 million.
Oh, yes.
My group and I have been working on this camera technology for about 20 years. We spent $20 to $30 million.
20 years, $20 to $30 million. Somebody gave them that $20 to $30 million. You're never going to guess who gifted them the nicest J-ish philanthropists on planet Earth. You're never going to guess who gave them that money. Bill and Melinda. Because nobody loves humanity more than Bill and Melinda. Melinda wearing an upside down cross, which is a way of saying, we're going to get you. And we really hate Christians.
Why do I think you'd find that interesting? I noticed they all were studying at Duke. Well, wouldn't you know it, Bill and Melinda Gates, 20 years ago, donated $20 million to the Duke University to launch a program. Doesn't specify exactly, but you would think that this is exactly what it was meant for. And that's exactly what it says. David said the program is expected to begin in 1999 with a set of at least 8 undergraduate scholarships annually and 8 graduate and professional students. I found it interesting. It said a university scholar will have demonstrated early signs of brilliance combined with an edge of individuality, independent thinking, risk-taking, iconoclasm, and even intellectual fearlessness. So I looked into that word. Well, this is what I found interesting. However you pronounce it, iconoclasm. For instance, iconoclasm has generally been motivated by those who adopt a strict interpretation of the Ten Commandments, which forbid the production and worship of graven images or any likeness of anything. To me, that's not really, okay, yes, it does sound like some Christianity, but honestly, it sounds like the Orthodox Jews when they say, remember in the first law, do not worship idols.
Are you starting to put these puzzle pieces together? That this very intelligent, bright woman who's a Christian and her husband started figuring out? Again, this is why we call them the hidden hand. Not all of them, not the ones that are in the new creation in Christ. They're fine. They're our family. We walk with them. They're good. We're talking about the other half of humanity who refuses to be born again, who refuses to accept the rule of Jesus, and they have a rule coming, and they even have their own Messiah for you all. And within the framework of this hidden hand and their Noahide sub-laws, you are not allowed to worship anything other than what they say and give you permission. And if you do, their AI enhanced computers, surveillance, everything listening to you, everything watching you, lifetime, no pausing. Kind of like that movie, The Circle, but from hell with, oh, who was in that? I'm trying to remember. Let's see. Who could it be? Who could it be? Tom Hanks. These people are setting up for humanity's destruction with the technology to spy on you and then to murder people off because they are racial. No, not racial. They are, what is it called? They are, I can't think of what the word is called. They hate Gentiles. This is to catch Christians, and I just said yes, that God is coming to get us, but see, more people will repent. They want to suppress or squash the chance for new batches of Christians. See, Satan has watched over the years that every time you kill one Christian, 10 more pop up in its place, right? But now you're at a point with the technology where everything's caught up, and Satan wants to suppress people from becoming saved in Christ and an immediate slaughter. But even that plan won't work because people will still run to Jesus. And they will do exactly what Jesus said. They will cash in their temporal life and exchange it for an eternal one. And they'll just have to trust in the promises of God that what God says he'll do, he'll do. And they'll have to wait till the end of the tribulation. Those people in the tribulation will have to wait till the last day, the day of atonement, when Christ raises them up. Do you see the game that's being played?
This means you cannot worship Jesus. I don't know. This was truly interesting, but I know that someone else is watching over us, and that is our Lord and Savior, and He will protect us all, regardless of all of this. But I just thought I'd share this with you all. And just remember, even though they have their order out of chaos, we have someone who's above all of this. Watch my other few videos. They're a little older, and then there's the tracking and tracing videos as well for some more information, but they are just as relevant today. And remember, do not stop praying. And
So if you go over to stopthecrime.net, she has a mirrored leaked military internment camps in the U.S. And this is important. This is going to be used by the United Nations. You have Trump being really weird, talking about you may not be seeing me for a while. What? What are you talking about?
In this video, we're going to examine the leaked U.S. military document FM3-39.40, otherwise known as the Field Manual for Internment and Resettlement Operations for U.S. Citizens. The official U.S. military documents we are about to see were highly classified until 2013 when they were leaked to the public. In fact, if you look at the bottom of the cover page, you'll see just how secret this document was intended to be. Destruction notice. Destroy by any method that will prevent disclosure of content or reconstruction of the document. By this stage,
Okay, well, apparently they didn't follow directions, or they just want to give an illusion. And this is kind of letting you in on the secret. This is grooming you for this scenario that you're basically, what is a nice word for that? Hemmed in, and there's not much you can do about it. This is the behavioral manipulation of a technique where they admit what they're doing, but through someone else, through leaked documents, through this, through that, where they're not really like going on television and honestly telling you, no, that's meant for game playing and wag the dog and other nonsense. So they it's telling you that you're going to a camp without actually them standing up in front of the camera and telling you you're going into a camp for those who will be here for the judgment.
Statement alone, it's obvious that we were never supposed to see what's inside. And that being said, let's take a look inside and see what we can find.
Disagree.
Now, this document is 326 pages long, and we definitely don't have time to look at every single page. So I'll just go over some of the most relevant content. Feel free to read this document for yourself. There's a link to the full document in the description below. Alright, so keep in mind that this document was not just written for overseas operations. It clearly outlines internment operations on U.S. soil and with U.S. citizens. On page 38, quote, support to civil support operations. Civil support is the DoD support to U.S. civil authorities for domestic emergencies and for designated law enforcement and other activities. Civil support includes operations that address the consequences of natural or man-made disasters, accidents, terrorist attacks, and incidents in the U.S. and its territories. The internment relocation tasks performed in support of civil support operations are similar to those during combat operations, but the techniques and procedures are modified based on the special OE associated with operating within U.S. territory and according to the categories of individuals, primarily DCs. In this document, DC stands for Dislocated Civilian, to be housed in internment relocation facilities. During long-term internment relocation operations, state and federal agencies will operate within and around internment relocation facilities within the scope of their capabilities and identified role. Military police commanders must closely coordinate and synchronize their efforts with them, especially in cases where civil authority and capabilities have broken down or been destroyed. Not only that, on page 146, it details the identification procedures of new prisoners, and that includes taking their social security numbers. Quote, Identification 716. Individual identification photographs are taken of all prisoners. The prisoner's last name, first name, and middle initial are placed on the first line of a name board, and the prisoner's social security number is placed on the second line. A prisoner registration number may be added on the third line. 2 front and 2 profile pictures are taken of the prisoner. Fingerprints are obtained according to AR 190-47.
So a lot of this is pretty boring, except that basically in a nutshell, the UN is going to come help in quotes. They have all of this stuff ready to go. They have every what do you want to call this? Everything's ready to go. They've planned it. It's ready to go. They're just waiting for Christ to give the word. Time shall be no more. From what Pentecost set out to bring forth a crop, a harvest that will be answered and plucked. The Feast of Trumpets, he told you to be ready. People didn't listen. He told you to listen, that people wouldn't listen, and you should listen and be ready, and people don't and won't. Time is wrapping up. They're ready to do this. They have the FEMA camps. They have the soldiers. They have the UN. They have the technology. They have the weapons. They have the AI. They have the relationship with Satan. They're worshiping spirits. They're ready to get the party started. You are on borrowed time if you are not in Christ. So, I will leave a link in. I already heard this. It's really hard for me to listen to again. Your good friends at FEMA and Walmart, there's a weird relationship between them. The UN hates you. UN now means Universal Noahide. I have so many videos on my channel about Noahide, sub-laws, the liars that are pandering to the hidden hand to play with your mind. I have the sub-laws that have now been taken off Noahide.com. I have them. Well, the way that they have expressed it before so clearly has been altered. Everything that they're talking about with regard to relief agency, relief as in kill you, relief turned on its head. They talk about an entire position of this psychological operation. Now, very early on when this stuff first started unfolding, we did a bunch of videos, mass deception, talking to you about, war is not always bloodshed. There's war on truth, war on information, war on food, war on perception, war on control, war on many, many, many things that lead up to sacking a population. And the people that have all the training, all the knowledge, all the special skills, they already know exactly what to do. And this whole Ebola nonsense, it's all part of it. It's the cover of night that allows them to completely roll this planet. And that's what you're seeing. And every day, a little bit more of your rights are taken away, and hyper suggestions of everything that we've already discussed. The church being bad, get the church is evil, you need to get the non-essential out of here, that whole thing, all the game playing. I mean, there's so much stuff that we could talk about. I am never at a loss for information, ever. You have Beth Moore, who is a rebel rouser devil, she devil from hell, who is, along with Matt Chandler, many other entities, Russell Moore, so many people who are stirring up a hatred. Also, Hillsong's Justin Bieber's little buddy pastor that walks around half naked all the time. I can't think of his name right now. Carl Lentz. Thank you, Lord. Carl Lentz and these different people that are parading around saying, we're the church, we're the church. They're not. They're liars. They are also saying the church is racist. The church is the problem. Now, of course, not their church. No. They're the nice new Christianity that will fit in well with coexist. This is the military psyop that he's going to go over in excruciating detail and pain. They have that in the church. And there's different increments of evil. And we discussed John MacArthur's role in this. You wouldn't suspect him to be part of it. That's how deception works. It doesn't come in wearing a name tag going, hi, I'm deception. It doesn't work like that. But you have to stop supporting everything. You really do. Anyhow, a lot could be said, but they have a ton of information set up, ready to go, ready to mess with your head, medical martial law. All of this stuff is kind of coming into the forefront. They've done this in churches too, where they have a process of shutting down those who do not go along with the narrative. They have it here, develops and executes indoctrination programs to reduce or remove antagonistic attitudes. They have that in churches too. They're change agents is what they are. They're change agents. Brainwashing. This was interesting. Medical personnel are required to identify, treat, and document existing medical conditions and injuries of detainees. This is strange. Distinguishing scars, marks, and tattoos will be documented by medical personnel and entered into a detainee reporting system by the facility detainee reporting system operator. Could we be more redundant? At theater level facilities? Huh? What does that mean? Theater? Weren't we just hearing about Walmart and theater? Is that the right connection, or am I off base? Theater level facilities for identification purposes. What do they mean theater level? Theater level? I don't know what that means because I'm not the psychopath that wrote this. But there's something weird going on. Medical personnel also prepare medical documentation, generate and control the disposition of medical records, and manage the release of medical information. Sounds like having a lot of personal information that you could use against someone. And it goes into all this weird stuff. It's painful to listen to. It's really, really, really hard because the worst of the worst is coming. Now, I want to get to these maps if he ever talks about that. Oh, yeah, and you're going to be immunized. You know, certain people had showers. Yeah, there you go. That is coming again. Now, maybe I've overshot the map in here. Serial numbers. They're going to stick serial numbers in you. They can use deadly force is another interesting aspect of this. For people that are trying to escape is the big highlight here. Oh, there's the map. Let me blow this up. Hold on.
How these camps should be laid out. There's many diagrams in this document, and we're going to take a look at this one right here. This diagram shows 3 rows of barbed wire fence, 25 guard towers, and a quick reaction force. Now, it should be...
Okay, it's right here. It says tribunal area. It's in the middle of the camp, and this says interrogation. And this is a field manual for America. Well, when you look at this, you remember the words of Christ that he warned Smyrna that she'd have persecution for 10 days, 10 days of awe. I can't get into this now, but if you study the 10 days of awe, you actually find out that it translates into the 7 years of tribulation from the start point to the end point that I don't have the energy to get into right now. The other thing is that there is a ton of information in the Gospels about, for those who will be here, they go over major detail on the love of many growing cold and how they will all come to hate you. Such a trap is being set.
be obvious to anybody watching this that these camps are not humanitarian relief centers, but rather prisons. Prisons meant for large populations of U.S. citizens. And this video just scratched the surface of this nearly 400-page document. What do you think about this? What are your thoughts on this document? Please leave a comment below and tell us what you think. And if you...
Okay. If you go over... Yeah, that was an important video too. This was weird over at Shaking My Head Productions. I think it was his second channel, if I'm not mistaken. He and others as well are detailing this weird verbiage coming from your Masonic, Kabbalistic, very Zionistic president. Stop that. As they're shutting this whole thing down, seizing the planet, literally, and causing the planet financially to seize up, destroying your resources. Yeah, it's the second one. You might want to go give him some love. This weird stuff that Trumpy Trump starts talking about. It looks like an assassination is coming, a fake one, as Trump is one of them. Anyway, all goes according to the script. Yep. Oh, you make a good point, Maranatha Paul. Odd, isn't it? The disobedient protesters outside the White House are all obediently wearing face masks. The choreographer of this farce should be sacked. I really like your verbiage. That was excellent. Yeah, oh, the game. The game is on. Yep. It's all a show. Anyone who takes their truth in this world, especially media, there's only one thing that you can bank on, and that is that you're deceived. Trump is one of absolutely. They're all satanically involved, made with the same demonic cloth. Do you see how awake these people are? Look at this. Christians everywhere. Lord Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. Repent and believe in the gospel and be born again. Yep. That was John 14:6. That kind of speech will be illegal. So anyhow, lots of great content on here with the crackerjack, witty, smart people. And I already told you who the source of this was. Back that up a little bit. Here you go.
So I have a lot of enemies out there. This may be the last time you'll see me for a while.
Last time you'll see me for
Very
a
rich
while.
enemies, but they are not happy with what I'm for a while. A lot of very, very rich enemies, but they are not happy with what
There has been a development regarding US President Donald Trump.
7 News US correspondent Amelia Brace is about a block away from the White House. You've moved. Amelia, what's the latest there?
Well, guys, there are multiple reports that Donald Trump has briefly been taken into his underground bunker for safety as protesters surrounded the White House today. You'll remember that we were there for sunrise when that group pushed through that front fence and came much too close for the liking of the Secret Service, who eventually used tear gas and raised their weapons to push those people away. There was a mass exodus. Those people have since moved down here, as you said, about a block away from the White House, but obviously heightened tensions, heightened concerns about the safety of the Commander-in-Chief, with this literally now on his front
rapper
lawn.
Snoop Dogg. His latest video features a clown dressed as President Trump. KPIX5's Ann Magovic has Florida Senator Marco Rubio's concerned response.
That's rapper Snoop Dogg pulling the trigger on a toy gun aimed at a clown dressed as President Donald Trump.
Dear family and frenemies of Donald Trump, some men look at the world and ask why. Donald Trump looked at the world and asked, what's in it for me? His generosity knew only limits, and he never once failed to put himself before others.
Well, Bill Maher also hates Jesus with everything that is in him. So they will be, if they continue on, be spending a lot of time together. Richie over here at BitChute had an interesting program.
What's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston.
Yeah, and so I want to kind of get to the most pertinent pieces. The article is called, or not the article, but the video, and he's going to have some articles on here. Public medical white paper proving that a certain number and a certain letter is Ebola, which was banned. And basically his main point in this, once he gets past the buy the supplies that the government's just going to steal from you anyhow, in an executive order you could thank Obama for. Yeah, right here. The letter and the number, technology, and induction of Ebola in skin cells. Now, this gets a little hard to follow. I don't know if I understand it all or if I agree with all of it. I don't know, but basically what was really an interesting takeaway were 2 points. Number one, he was saying that based on this paper written by experts, with the big giant Bill and Melinda Gates thing they want to stick in your muscle and your little arm, what it is going to do is it is going to create some type of physiological problem within your flesh that when they turn on that number that comes after 4 and that letter that comes after F, you put that together. When they turn that system on that is electrified, that is being run by the AI, that the whole planet is all part of, it's all tied together. It's the snare Christ warned you about in Luke 21. It's going to cause cataclysmic, not financial, we're already experiencing that, physiological distress and problems. And what they're going to do is the experts are then going to go, see, we told you that Ebola was spreading. We tried to warn you. You didn't listen. You fought us. Now we're just going to need to exterminate you, right? Because you're a disgusting biological hazard, human. So that is their manufactured justification through this process of screwing with your head. And people will think that it's, spiky ball syndrome, Ebola. But in all reality, they're saying that it's actually the use of this technology with this millimeter waves and what it will do and how it basically suffocates you from the inside out. The other thing that I thought was so interesting was that it talked about, see down here in the keywords, antenna. And I had talked to you before about how I felt like there was 2 vaccines, one to immediately get rid of, seals 2 through 4 people right off the blocks. You do see that a quarter of the planet is just murdered off as they scale the numbers down, pieces taken from the earth, an actual pestilence, death, hell, and so on and so forth, as per the judgment that God is going to go ahead and let evil go ahead and destroy yourself. You wouldn't listen to me. Go ahead and take the consequences. You didn't want what I had. Grace. So now you're getting the judgment, right? That whole thing. Doled out in 21 judgments. The first 4 takes a quarter of the planet. And so this does just come into being. It takes skill and planning and lying and money and Bill and Melinda Gates. And Melinda looks like a man with a man nose. The transsexual fighters that are militant, that hate your guts, that hate the church, that are working in tandem with the dragon Satan, the dragon, the neo-communist, the dragon, all the things that we already talked about. The technology, the satellite constellation, the threat, and it folds all the way back in your mind to the threat through, dear Moses was attacked, where his mother, Joachim, I think her name was, had to hide him in a basket, and Miriam and God watched out for him. He was drawn up out of the water, was protected from the lunatic that wanted to kill those babies, right? This is a template. Then you have Jesus the Christ, and he is attacked by a psychopath nut job, Herod, who I guess died of like worms or something gross later. And an angel told Mary's husband, Joseph, get to getting. And so they went to Egypt and hung out for a while. So that attack plan was thwarted. That's 2, deuce. 2 for 2. And then, of course, you see in the Revelation 12 vision that John has and is likely sitting here experiencing in live time, the same type of attack saying now against the entire conglomerate of the new creation in Christ, with the head Jesus and the body all at one, and they eat it. And as I just continue studying the Psalms, there's 150 Psalms. I'm really amazed how much Feast of Trumpets language there is in there. Not all of them, but a lot of them pertaining to a rescue that is coming, a thwarted attack that is coming, and so on and so forth. So a lot could be said about that. But what was really interesting, and a little hard to follow, this idea that all of the people that take this V that I can't talk about because of the censorship, they will somehow kind of be like walking, talking, moving antenna. And I don't completely understand that, but they will hijack the biological system by putting something in you of a technological variety. It's not the mark of the beast. That comes 3.5 years later. That's yoking with the AI. I've talked about this being GPS. This kind of goes along with that. And it's kind of boring to get into. I don't understand a lot of this, but it talks about a relationship between the waves produce some kind of, what is that? Does it say holes, I think? Yeah. Holes and liquids within the nucleus of your cells. To fill these holes, some extra stuff is produced. The base could join to each other and form something weird, V-like structures, such as the thing I can't say, Ebola. So I don't know if I completely buy all of this exactly the way that it said and all that, because I don't have enough expertise to know this. I'm not really one to parapuke stuff, but if they're going to create something on the physiological standpoint of making you ill that's actually being exacerbated by unseen forces, the millimeter waves, that really does make good sense as to this cover story put into play as to why the force seal pops up. And then, oh no, you disgusting, filthy humans, you're making everything sick. The church is making everything sick. We need to put you down. Right? And we can't have any new ones popping up. So yeah, I don't know what to think about this walking antennas. You know, I kind of dig that with that it makes sense that everything is going to be connected together. And then of course Revelation, this anti-church whore of Babylon, all of bad humanity, it does talk about them being connected together, having one mind. And so you could see the technology piece of that. You could see the witchcraft piece of that. You could see the prince of the power of the air kind of pulling them all together through unseen forces, abusing the science and technology and making people ill. And then, of course, on other videos that I don't have at my disposal right in this moment, their zones where they'll be at. They don't have the towers that are so weird. So much more could be said, and always is. Okay, so I kind of showed you this before, but to kind of tie this together for you and give you a visual, SpaceX launches third batch of 60 mini Starlink satellites to build a giant constellation of spacecraft. So they're getting the planet all ready to go. And that was January. Oh no, we're not going to be joining, and I don't care. I don't want to. Starlink network, just under 180 of these. You know, it's interesting that they call it a constellation. Revelation 12. There's other people involved in this whole process. Global internet, right? They want to have a global internet. They tell you that's what it is. But really, no, we'll not be doing that. Really, it's a trap. Okay, enough of that. And then let's go ahead and do the Stardust thing. Let's do that. Hold on, let me get that for you. So I also found this from Camera Rose's channel, Sahara Smart Dust Forming Intelligent Network. I have more connection pieces as well, but this will probably be the final thing that we look at. And then tomorrow we will start looking at Revelation 12 and Genesis 12 and the relationship between this dust, this sand, promises of Abraham, Christ coming, the one new mankind, and some other possible connections. For now, this should be very eye-opening and scary.
Here's RT correspondent John Huddy. Look, Godzilla. No, not that Godzilla. This is the so-called Godzilla dust cloud. It's a massive Saharan dust plume that's drifted from Africa across the Atlantic Ocean in a 5,000-mile journey towards the United States. Researchers say it's an extraordinary and historic weather event that, while fascinating, is creating serious air quality problems, particularly for those suffering from allergies. While strong warm winds from the Sahara carry plumes of sand over the Atlantic every summer, this particular dust cloud is said to be the largest in 50 years, moving south of Florida over parts of the Caribbean, turning the tropical blue skies and water of islands, including Puerto Rico, into a dense brown hue. Weather forecasters predict it will ultimately make its way into Texas before taking a turn to the east over the weekend. Here in Miami, the distant dust has made for some beautiful sunsets. My videographer Andres Guzman shot this picture recently. The good news is the Godzilla dust storm is providing...
Hold that thought.